Hello, everyone, and welcome. I think I have everyone muted, so you may have to unmute yourself, or you can type hello in the chat.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just looking at both Jill and Mary Beth's blueprints. They look fantastic. I'm a little behind, but
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. It was a good exercise to really think through everything. You really thought through a lot of the details people need to think through.
Yeah, it's helpful to have that list of things to look at. So that's great.
Did it make it seem overwhelming to have the list? Like, holy moly, I'm taking on a lot here.
I didn't find it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Jill.
I didn't find it overwhelming. I found it actually helpful to have a viewpoint in terms of what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
Because when you have to think about it and then they come up and you haven't had time to go, oh, I'm going to have to deal with this or I'm going to have to deal with that. It's
Right.
helpful to have it to look forward to.
What were you going to say, Mary Beth?
Oh, pretty much the same thing. No, I thought it was kind of systematic and it was good to think through things. I'd rather think through them now than later, as Jill said.
That's good feedback. Thank you.
welcome.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started since it's a couple of minutes after 1. Well, thank you all and welcome to session 4 of the Build Your Own Teen Innovation Challenge brought to you by the Jacobs Institute at the University of San Diego. I'm happy to hear that many of you have finished finished the first half of your blueprints and that it's going well for you. And so today we'll take some time to talk about the remaining components of the challenge blueprint and get you going on that part. And please feel free to stop us along the way if you have any questions or any feedback that you would like to share. Today, our goals are basically to identify and understand the final challenge blueprint components, to view other innovation challenges that actually exist, and most of them have previously taken place already, but just to help you to get a framework of how to shape your individual challenge. And then lastly, to discuss the final steps of the teacher camp. And this is just the template, which many of you are familiar with already, the challenge blueprint. And so we'll just continue on talking about that today. So the first component that we want to jump right in to talk about, these are definitely, all of these are areas that you should consider when building your challenge. The first thing we want to talk about today is prizes and awards. It's really important that you consider how you want to reward the participants. So if you have a budget, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay too. If you don't have a budget, creativity will be key for you. However, if you do have fun, you can decide on the kinds of prizes that you would like to award, which could include certificates, trophies, plaques. It could be a gift or even a monetary prize. And if you don't have a budget, you consider other awards such as an e-certificate or quiz or homework pass, or whatever innovative idea that you can come up with. You know your students, you know what motivates them. And so you can just come up with something that's free, but that would still be valuable to a student. And if you, it's important to think about how many winners you want to have. So you could do the typical top 3 awardees if you would like, and then you could provide other students with a certificate of participation. Really, the choice is up to you.
I was just going to add one thing that we found some great success with was also a list of finalists. So, and you can celebrate their efforts as well. So you can look at that in a number of different ways. Frankly, you could, yeah, we've seen situations where people would, you know, depending on the numbers, all the student teams who finished could be considered finalists, and you could have top X winners or those kinds of things. But I think there's a great way of kind of rewarding the contributions and success. And I would also offer to any of you anytime, as you're thinking about your, and I just put this in somebody's blueprint remarks. I haven't gotten to all of them, so there's a few of you I haven't gotten to yet. But one of the things that we're happy to do too is to help celebrate your success too. So we can share the students' work or final out, you know, things if on our social media channels or in our newsletter. So there are other avenues that we're absolutely willing to help your journey and success along the way too. So getting the word out for your events, as you know, in the community and other places, but also as you culminate and think about ways you want to celebrate, we are happy to engage with you in those options and discussions.
Definitely. Thank you, Monty, for that. Next, it would be a good idea to consider your partners for your challenge. And it could be at the classroom level. It could be, I'm just thinking about parents or staff members or school volunteers who would be willing to help your students design their prototypes. And at a broader level, your students could, in thinking about, you know, as they investigate and research their projects, that would just mean basically finding people who could help them to investigate their problem further. And so it could be a local professional who works in that particular field or industry, or it could even be the local librarian at your school or even in the community who can help your students to get access to online databases for research or could possibly have connections. What I found as being a teacher that, you know, there's a lot of resources right within your immediate educational community. So sometimes just putting it out there amongst your community, whether it's in a school newsletter or if your school sends out a weekly email, just putting it out there to find out what connections are out there. Because what I found is, you know, you just don't know until you ask. You never know who knows who. But just think about that as students are designing, because it can be somewhat overwhelming as a teacher to take on all of the responsibilities yourself. And so if you have someone who could help you, a classroom parent, I mean, a virtual classroom parent at this point, that could be helpful to you. Okay. Continuing on, in talking about the pitch event, several factors should be considered. So first, let's talk about the location and time. Think about when and where you want your pitch event to occur. Most likely, it'll be a virtual event, and that's fine. It could be a live virtual event, which could be on a platform such as Zoom or Hangout. If you want students to submit a video pitch in advance and then showcase that, you can do that as well. You can, you know, showcase it at a certain time, or you know, on a platform on the school's website. Really, the choice is yours. But think about, in thinking about the event, think about if you want to have like a question and answer period for your students. What would this look like, and who would you invite to judge? It's always fun to get external judges, which could be industry professionals or business owners. That adds an extra layer of intensity and professionalism to the actual competition. However, if you alone will serve as the judge, that's okay too. When I was a teacher, I used to have an annual Shark Tank presentation. And so I would always invite like former professors or friends who had manufacturing companies, and I would have them come in. And so the students really enjoyed that. It's, you know, they were really excited. And so one of the judges would always be really tough, and then one would be really easy. And it was just interesting having the kids converse among themselves, just talking about that experience. But they were really excited to have that feedback from the external people. But like I said, it's not, you know, you don't have to have it, but it does definitely help.
And just to piggyback on that, a couple of thoughts, and then one of them is also one I just made. And we ended up benefiting from having, it turned out, you know, the virtual solution actually worked out really well. And then in some ways, you can do a live virtual event, or you could have them pre-record them, and that's completely up to you. There are some advantages to the asking them to pre-record. It gives students an opportunity then to shine in other ways and to kind of nail their pitch down. Plus, then you could actually showcase them on your schools or communities' YouTube channels or other ways to just celebrate their work. It's just something to think about. And then I would also, just as a reminder, in the pitch phase itself, we have provided a rubric that we encourage you to consider using for your pitch events, right? And so the plan there is really to help students, and you could do an internal event within your classroom first, depending on how many you have, and getting a larger event. There could be multiple layers of the event, but the pitch rubric is something that is kind of baked into the curricular content, and it encourages student teams to then help evaluate and provide feedback on other teams' work and pitches too. So it kind of helps create that cycle a little bit. So just a couple of other things to consider.
Definitely. And even think about if you want it to be like, if it is live, is it just live in front of their peers and you as the teacher or judges? Or do you want to even make it bigger and have your parents be able to attend, or other individuals to come just view the actual showcasing of the presentations? And so, like I said, the choice is up to you as to how you want to actually conduct it. But, I found that it's always nice from time to time to let outsiders in, especially like if you have school board members, or even invite your administrator to come in and just check out what your classroom is doing. That's always, fun to do. I don't know if it's necessarily fun for the students, but no, no, I think they'll be fine. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about winners and showcasing. So once you have determined how you will award your challenge winners, it's important to think about how you will announce them to your school community. And great locations that you could use could be your teacher or school website. It could be a school social media channel or channels, school newsletter, or if your school has a distribution list that they use for email blasts, it could be featured there as well. But once you've identified your showcasing platform, think about when you will showcase it and to what extent. So like after you finished your judging, what's the turnaround? That's helpful, of course, for students to know, but it's also helpful for your community to know, so they could be looking forward to it. You can kind of build up the momentum for the announcements. And think about how you will share their overall pitches. If they produce videos, you can showcase that. But if you just wanted to write up the information, and I'll show you an example of what that could look like, you can do that as well. For our Spring Changemaker Challenge, we decided to just do a summation of the top 2 winners and showcase, their actual product that they proposed to create. And then we listed the finalists as well. So I'm going to actually take you to our website so that you can see. Scroll up to the top. So this is the Jacobs Institute Changemaker Challenge. And you notice here we have prizes, and then we have our first place winner, which was Go Green Food Bags. We have a summary here. We share information about the team and the teacher itself, and we showcase the global goal and then the actual product, as you see. Then keep going down. We have our second place winner, Idle Reminder, same summation, picture, just the idea that they proposed and their global goal. Oh, we have the third place. I think I mentioned just the first and second, but we do have third as well. And so you can see fourth and fifth. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we ended up doing
First and second. We did
5.
the first through 5. Yeah, first through 5th. So we had quite a bit of teams that to participate. Now you may not want to choose the top 5, but you may want to. Like I said, it's up to you. And then we have our finalists. And so this would be other students who participated in the challenge who didn't place in the top 5, but were still worthy of acknowledgement for their work.
And one thing on that, this is a lesson learned for us. And you may be in a different situation, but definitely something to consider. And maybe something we should have put on the blueprint. When you're thinking about the final pieces where you want to celebrate their success, we did not get, because we were involved with other schools and they were providing, or other educators and they were providing student teams work to us, we did not end up securing media releases or anything for the students' pitches or the student work, so we couldn't effectively sort of publicize them. But that's something that we will do differently in the future, at least think about. You may want to think about that depending on the groups that you're involved with when you're talking about, if the students did have a recorded pitch, does your school already have a media release in place that you can rely on, or do you need to consider that? And that just may give you some options. It's just something to think about along the way.
Yeah, definitely. I know most schools do have media releases,
Right.
but just making sure that like who cannot be shared, like which parents has said, no, my child cannot be showcased on a public platform. Or if you want to invite other teachers from other schools, it's really important that you have that information, especially if you plan to showcase their winners. So yeah.
And we also have some homeschooler, I think it's Jill actually, who may be working with homeschool groups too. And now you may want to think about the media release getting some parental, if you want to do some celebratory work at the end where you can kind of showcase their work. I think that's good for students, it's good for you, and kind of really celebrates, but you may want to think about that sort of permission piece.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think I was trying to think, why did I get tied up with the first and second? But I realized that as we continued on with 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we didn't go as into detail as on their projects as we did the first 2. So I was like, why did I think it was just the first 2? But either way, that's a great example that you could reference to. Like I said, if you didn't want to showcase videos, you prefer to do something like that, or you can do both. You can showcase videos and have a write-up on your school's webpage. Both are great ways to showcase student work. And of course, the students will be very happy and proud, and so will their parents and grandparents. You will make a lot of people happy. Now, taking a look at your marketing strategy, it's important to think about what would be the best tools that you can use to promote your challenge event. Canva is an excellent way to create flyers for social media and online promotion. And of course, for all of you professional graphic designers out there, there's Adobe Photoshop and other software or platforms that are more complex. But think about who can help you to actually promote this challenge. Remember, having parents or colleagues to help you divvy up tasks could be very helpful, especially if you're doing a larger challenge. But on a smaller scale, you could even think about having some of those tech-savvy kids in your class, have someone do the flyer for you and give them some extra credit. But you could just be creative as to how you can divvy up the work. Think about also who you want to share the challenge information with. Is it obviously would be the parents in your classroom, but if it's beyond that, it could be your school community, stakeholders, board members, just letting them know that you all are involved in very positive and very, just very good work in your classroom. I think this would be awesome for you. Awesome advertisement, and something that, in the middle of a pandemic and things are, we hear a lot of the negatives, about what's happening. It's always nice to hear the positives. And this is definitely something positive that you could promote. I wanted to take a moment to share with you a couple of websites in regards to former global innovation challenges that have occurred. And these are just a couple. There are definitely plenty out there. And so first, let's take a look at the T-Mobile Changemaker Challenge. And this was done last year, but I like it because it's very informative. It also shows you examples of how they showcase their prize winners, and you could use that to model. It has overall information about the actual challenge, like it has a little got questions section that answers what the T-Mobile Challenge Maker is, what was the selection criteria, just a lot of helpful information. And so I would definitely recommend that you take a look to see how they ran their challenge, because it's a good model to follow. And then afterwards, here is USD did a global social innovation challenge. And this was separate from our office, but still, very good information to view. So you can see they have just an overall summation of their challenge, about the social innovation challenge. You can see information about when it started, how many universities have participated, and it even has snippets of videos of the winners, which is pretty helpful. Has an example of a timeline, which is one of the challenge blueprint components. And also you can click on more information here just to see, what you can model or how you can model your challenge. Okay. Let's go back here.
Can we go back one?
Yes. Oh, how did I forget the biggest one? That's a big deal.
I moved it down a bullet.
Okay, that's what threw me off. Okay, yes. And so we are excited to announce that we will be hosting a Global Teen Innovation Challenge. More information will be coming this fall, and it will be sponsored by the Jacobs Institute. And we, of course, we know that we have equipped you with the tools to create your own Changemaker Challenge. However, Teen Innovation Challenge, we've tweaked the name, but you can, of course, feel free to join this challenge as well.
And actually, what our thinking here is too, we took into consideration the work that you all are doing to develop your challenges and how we can help support you, as well as how we can continue to support those educators and students who have participated impactful in various ways in the past. And so our thinking here is really from a timeline perspective, we're planning to sort of talk about, we say the fall part will really be sort of professional development for educators who wish to participate, and then the event itself would happen in the springtime, sort of culminating in May or at the end of April. And so one of the things you could consider, particularly for those of you who are already planning to do your own challenge this fall, or over the course of the whole school year, and we had this happen before. We had student teams who were working in Impactful, who were working on our Changemaker Challenge, but they were also simultaneously working toward other challenges at the same time. And in fact, at least one of the teams, the second place team in our challenge, also won for, they won the Project Invent challenge that they were involved in at the same time. So there's a great opportunity for almost take the same work that students are working on in your challenge and carrying it forward into the spring, or your challenge could be the whole year and it could align. So think about those ways of getting the student teams to potentially other ways of celebrating their work that could go beyond just your challenge.
Definitely. Okay. Now this week, we would like for you to finish your challenge blueprints with the components that we just reviewed and post it in the Pathful community by next week, Thursday. And so we wanted to make sure that you had enough time to do that. And if you, for some reason, weren't able to finish up the first half, just go ahead and finish up everything. And so we can definitely view it. We didn't make it a requirement that you had to respond to other challenge blueprints. However, we definitely invite you to do so. We love to see the interaction between you all, and we enjoy making comments on your work, and so you can definitely expect to see it on our behalf, but we do want to encourage you to continue forward with that. And then once the teacher camp has officially culminated, continue to chat in the community. If you have any questions, or if you have any brilliant ideas that you think would be helpful to other educators impactful, please feel free to post. You can post at any time.
And on that note too, students actually have access to the community as well. We did not restrict that to just educators. I don't know that we have any in there currently, but there could be a forum or mechanism that for you to consider for allowing students to coordinate and communicate with each other. So if that fits a place in your, then feel free to jot us a note or let us know if there's something we can do to help you set up something to make that work better. We're happy to do that. And then just as a note, we are, after this piece of it, I will be sending a communication out to everybody probably next Friday, kind of asking for some questions about how we can better support you going forward, kind of figure out how you were doing, how it went for you, and any suggestions and comments and stuff that we can get from you. So it's not quite the end next Thursday. Please, you'll be on the lookout for that piece. And then we're in our whole work depends on these kind of amazing educational partnerships that we develop through these channels. So I certainly hope this is the beginning of more opportunities to collaborate and work together.
Definitely. All right. And so once we have officially reached the end of the teacher camp, you will receive a certificate of completion from the Jacobs Institute, and you are also eligible for a graduate extension credit from the University of San Diego's PCE office. And I wanted to show you what that looks like here. And so this is actually how you would go about obtaining that credit. And so PCE has it posted, and basically if you wanted to get this for yourself, you just add it to your cart, and then you can use it and submit it for actual USD credit, continuing ed credit.
But the key piece there is we're also giving away
five lucky individuals, as we stated in the very first session. Upon completion of all of the requirements, all of the activities, five people will receive an actual credit that's sponsored by us. So you don't have to buy it at all. And the way that we will go about seeing who is even interested in that is through the teacher camp survey that Monty previously mentioned, where we'll be getting feedback on the camp, but also finding out who is interested in receiving this complimentary credit on behalf of our office.
And just to clarify, Alina, to officially complete the camp, you do have to submit your full blueprint. That's the evidence that we need in order to award the credit. Yeah,
definitely. Okay. Are there any questions or comments or just anything, if you had some challenges, or you really liked something that we've discussed either today or with the challenge blueprint itself, now would be the time to share. I'm curious to know if anyone is actually interested or planning on doing their own challenge this fall.
Several.
Chat. Yes, awesome. All right. In the spring, okay. Wonderful, wonderful. That's awesome. Are there any questions about any of the components that we talked about today?
This is Catherine Drown. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just had a question about after the students have developed the project and have pitched it, and I know that your program is relatively still new. Have you had students that have gone on and done something further with their project, or actually either made a physical thing or created a service? One reason I'm asking is that we have for our charter school, one of the graduation requirements is that the student do a semester community learning project, which can either be a leadership or service learning. And I was thinking it would be interesting if a student through their Pactful project created something that they wanted to bring to the community, and then the following semester they could use that for their community learning project. Have you had any experience with that?
I'll just jump in there. So that's a great idea, and that's actually something that we've talked about since inception. Is really the what next. And I would say, Catherine, I don't know at this time that those student teams who have gone through this are doing anything official what next, but I do know that at least some of the educators and leaders will have some of the same students again, so that's entirely possible. From the design perspective, we have talked about in the future, what would the next steps phases look like from a from a Pactful perspective, and talking about adding those additional sort of phasing, like sustaining and scaling, to your point. And that kind of brings back the next piece of, okay, if you do win a cash prize or something, or maybe one of your prizes is the opportunity to work specifically with some industry folks or people who could actually help you take your project to the next level. There are clear opportunities for that type of engagement, but we have not yet nailed that ourselves. So that is definitely part of the thinking. And there are definitely opportunities, and certainly, and this is the innovation mindset in general, is the what next. If you do truly passionately believe in your project and you want to take it further, think of the Shark Tank model. You get the money, and you sometimes also get, advisors and helpers and people who are going to help you take it further and make the next step. And that would be an amazing, we would love to support that type of work as well. But we have not currently sort of written, curriculum or been baked that into the product itself, but it's in our minds. I don't know if that helps, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Thank you. Lots of opportunities here.
Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, well.
Since this is our last time, I just wanted to, especially for those of you who keep coming back week after week, and for those of you who are listening at home because you can't make the time, we appreciate you too, but I do love the opportunity to have a direct engagement with all of you in this time, and I'm going to miss our weekly camp time, but I'll see you in the community, and I hope that by now you should all have my email address, so if you need anything from me or us, please let us know. And don't worry, in case you've already lost it, you'll be getting more emails. So at least next week to remind you about the final piece. So thank you so much.
Agreed. I have also appreciated, this time and interacting with, other educators, like-minded educators who, want to take, really bettering the world to the next level with your students. And so, we know that it starts with teachers or educators believing in their students, and, that's what you are. And we really appreciate, you for even thinking that way, thinking out of the box. And so we look forward to continuing talking with you or communicating with you in the community. And if you ever have any questions or need any support, we are here for you. And just to add in, again, if you come up with any brilliant ideas, feel free to share, because we have definitely shared helpful information that educators using Pactful have shared with us. They've taken it to the next level, and we've even gone to the point where we've showcased it in our presentation. So it's a continuing dialogue between us and you as the educator. So, all right. Well, thank you for all of your time, and we hope that you have a wonderful afternoon, And, you know, we look forward to getting your finished challenge blueprints next week. And then you will be definitely hearing back from us with our surveys. And so we encourage all of you to complete those and yeah, just give us your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.